Welcome to our trip to Quito in Ecuador.
Comida.
So, this was my first time coming back here in 4 years because I had actually served in the Peace Corps in 2020 and this was my host family. But I only got to do 3 months because we got evacuated due to COVID, unfortunately. And this is how they came to greet me at the airport. Really cute sign. I was very happy to see that. Then one day we spent the entire day at Mitad del Mundo, which is a tourist and cultural complex nearby Quito. It's about an hour and a half by bus from Quito, and the bus cost about 35 cents each person. It's a huge complex, so you can spend the entire day there easily. There are many different types of little museums, and the first one we went to was these huts that signify the three different regions of Ecuador. Ecuador is a very diverse country, and the three regions that they cover in this section are the coast, which is near the ocean, which is very, very hot area. Then the Andes area, which is the Sierra, the mountains, which is where Quito is. This house in particular is from the Sierra region, from the native people that live in the Sierra region. And then they also cover the Amazon region. But this region, of course, you can see the fur because it's kind of cold sometimes in the Sierra region. And then they're showing the cuy here, which are the guinea pigs that are very sacred to a lot of indigenous people in Ecuador. And they raise them sometimes in the house in these little areas. Then also they're showing here the Diablo Huma, which I will share more about later in this video, which is also a sacred entity to a lot of indigenous folks in Ecuador. And then here we're going to a coastal region house, which is made out of these very light materials, which is very cool. And then lastly, here we're entering an Amazon region house, which is also in a hut format. And those huts are located in the Amazon region forest, which is the Oriente, as they call it. And where a lot of the indigenous population in Ecuador still lives. It's a beautiful region. I've never been to it. Then chicha de yuca is a traditional drink that a lot of people drink before entering an indigenous community. It is made of corn. And then here just showing the bananas trees, which are very common there. And then espumilla, which is a very, very, very typical dessert that you can find in all the streets in Ecuador. It's traditionally made with guava, but they can technically make it out of any flavor.
Comida.
The base ingredient is egg whites. Then we went to this little train station, and it's free to go when you're in Metad de Mundo. You can just get on and check out everything that they have to offer there. There are a lot of stores, a lot of restaurants. This little boogie, which is really typical of there as well. Um, and then you can see the big main event. So this monument is called the Monument to Ecuador, the Monumento a la Mitad del Mundo, and it highlights the exact location of the equator, which is where the country takes its name from. And it commemorates the 18th century Franco Spanish geodesic mission, which fixed its approximate location. And it's really a cool monument because you can step in front of it, and to one side, you're stepping on the north side of the world, and on one side, you're stepping on the southern side of the world. So it's really incredible. Then we went on a tour of this chocolate store located there, which contained very, very high quality chocolates. A lot of them were prize winners. We bought this mango one actually, and we had it with the family and then my parents later, and it was absolutely delicious. It was 85% cacao, and it was not bitter at all. Then I wanted to highlight this chocolate, which is made with Amazon ants, and they taste like lemongrass. They're very famous. And then also this painting of an Ecuadorian cacao plant, which is yellow, and this very expensive $300 chocolate, which is premium and unique to Ecuador. Ecuador has some of the best chocolate in the world, apparently. Then we just sat there and relaxed. We had milkshakes, we had ice cream, and James even had cacao gin, which was delicious. And then we went to check out some of the typical dancing that was going on outside. This is a very cool dance group that we found. We did not catch their name, but they were extremely good and they danced for an extremely long amount of time. It was something like an hour they were dancing there for everyone to see. And they had dances from the Oriente region, the Amazon region, the Sierra region, which is the Andean region, and then also the coastal region. So dances from all over the country, beautiful stuff. So I'm gonna leave you with some of those dances for now. And each of these dances has a different meaning and a different story behind it. So for example, the first dance that we actually saw was the dance that the native people usually do when a baby unfortunately passes away. So they like to celebrate the baby's life instead of simply mourning and crying. So I think that's a really beautiful tradition that they have over there in Ecuador. And this is the Diablo Uma that I was telling you about, that I showed you in the little hut before. And Diablo Uma is the most important character of the Inti Raimi celebration for the Andean indigenous communities in Ecuador. His name translates into head devil, and he symbolizes the knowledge that comes from duality and complementary forces in the universe. And this is a man that's dressed as him, just performing a dance for us. Then we got up on the monument because you can actually go inside of it. And then at the top, you can see a beautiful view of the Pichincha region of Ecuador. And it's gorgeous. And on the way up to the viewpoint, inside of the monument, there's also a museum of Ecuador showing the three regions, the native people of Ecuador, and even the Esmeraldas region, which is a region where a lot of the Afro-Ecuadorians live, which is pretty interesting to learn about. So I highly recommend you go to this place. It's awesome. Then one of the most interesting things we saw there too was the Gua SM Foundation pavilion, which was a pavilion basically dedicated to this painter, Gua SM. He's an Ecuadorian painter, and he's very famous because he managed to capture a lot of the struggles of the Ecuadorian people through his paintings, including a lot of the indigenous peoples' struggles. So I highly recommend you go there to visit Metal de Mundo. And lastly, we got to see the little cuy being prepared, because people do eat it as well. They don't just use it in their house. And it's a guinea pig. Then the next day, we went on a city tour of Quito on the 2-story bus. You can find these buses in the Carolina Park downtown. And I think it's worth it because you get to see the whole city from up above, and it's really beautiful. They usually have guides in English and Spanish at the same time. So if you only speak English, you'll be able to understand everything. Then the first stop was the Basilica of the National Vow, or Basilica del Voto Nacional. It's a Roman Catholic church located in the center of Quito, and it is the largest neo-Gothic basilica in the entirety of the Americas. It's huge and it's very detailed. You can see little animals hanging from the walls too. If you really pay close attention, you can see turtles, lizards. So it's a really impressive and detailed basilica. We didn't go in this time, but I had gone in when I went there to Ecuador before, and it is pretty stunning. So if you like churches, you definitely got to check out this one.
The view is breathtaking if you visit the basilica. Bueno amigos, este es el tiempo de fotografías. Vamos a estar de igual manera 2 minutos. Les invitamos a levantar.
And this is the historic downtown of Quito. It's really known for its very narrow cobblestone streets and its very ancient homes. A lot of these homes are still from the Spanish colonization period, so very old and preserved as a historic landmark of the city. Then we got to see Plaza de San Francisco, or San Francis Square. It's a major public square in the historic center, and it was actually built upon ancient Inca ruins, including Emperor Atahualpa's palace. And the last stop was to the Virgen of El Panecillo, which is a large statue of 200 meters on top of a hill. And this statue of the Virgin Mary overlooks the historic center of Quito. This hill was the site of an indigenous temple of the sun before the Spanish destroyed it during the conquest of the region. And now it's the Virgin Mary statue, and it's very famous there. Then on the next day, we went over to Nahan, which is a small little town near Quito. It's about 30 minutes by bus from Quito, actually. And this city is where I used to live with my host family when I used to be in the Peace Corps in 2020. And the Peace Corps actually only allows volunteers that are training to live in either Nahan or Tumbaco, which are two of the villages near Quito. And right now, you're watching me and my host family walk over to the old house where they used to live. Now they live in Quito, where I used to live with them. So they're just gonna knock on the door and try to get in. And this was the house. It was really cool to see it again. And the 3 dogs that used to live there when I lived there are still there. One of them passed away, but all of the other ones are still there. So it was really awesome to be able to see it again. Then we just walked around the little Nahan town. As you can see, there are a lot of plants there. Nahan is known for being the garden of Quito. So we got to see a lot of beautiful flowers there. We even bought some flowers for Maggie. And also, Nahan is known for its fish, but we didn't get fish there. We got something else. We got cevichocho, and I'm going to show that to you next.
Hola, I'm having cevichocho right now, which is a corn ceviche.
Okay. Aquí es el ají, la salsa picante. And the cevichocho is typical of Ecuador. It's a really cool invention because it's basically a ceviche for vegetarian people, and it's made of different types of corn. So they have toasted corn, chocho, which are the other boiled corn beans. They also have red onion, cilantro, and it's marinated. So really cool stuff, and also very healthy for you.
It's really good. There's a lot of different flavors going on at the same time and a lot of different textures. It's really good.
Está bueno, dice. Es excelente.
My sweetie.
This is helados de salcedo. It's a traditional ice cream from here in Ecuador. And I'm going to give it a go now. No. Está bien. Yo. I'm bad at life. Es muy rico. It's very delicious.
Se llama Salcedo porque hay un barrio en una provincia de Ecuador que se llama Salcedo. Son originarios de ahí.
Y los sabores.
Tiene crema, que es como leche, mora, naranjilla y taxo.
Rico.
Y adentro, mira de ahí. Y esto es mermelada de frutilla.
And after the helado de salcedo, we tried a fruit called guava. So
I'm having guava. It's a different kind of guava than in the United States, but it's really good. They have these big black seeds inside, so eat around them, but it's really good.
Hi everyone, coming at you with another fruit here from Ecuador. This is chirimoya, and the way that you open it is by making a big straight like this, and then it falls apart, and you can share it between your friends. And then on the inside, it's very soft, and there are these pieces here that you pull out, and then there's a seed inside, so you gotta suck the meat out in your mouth. So let me do it. Very good. It's so sweet.
Delicious.
Delicious. And the seed, and it's just so good. The flavor is, it's just like a sweet, comforting, neutral little flavor. It's really good. If you come here, you have to try it. Then on one of the days, we took a day trip to Mindo, which is a town located in the cloud forest of the Andes Mountains in northern Ecuador. And it's known for its rich biodiversity, its radical sports such as zip lining, hiking, and even not so radical but bird watching. There's also a butterfly sanctuary that we went to. So it was just a day trip, so we weren't able to go to a lot of places. We just kind of went to the butterfly watching place really. But if you have time, I would recommend really going there and spending a few days at least, because I think it's really, really good for tourists, because it has a lot of different eco lodges and nature resorts, and it also has a bunch of different fun activities. You can also do tubing, chocolate tours, river rafting. So definitely, if you go to Ecuador, I would recommend going to Mindo.
We ended up meeting someone willing to drive us from Quito to Mindo, which is a 2-hour drive. We reimbursed him for gas and car use since he was driving, and the math was about $35 each way. Not bad. And then he joined us for the day. He went with us to the butterfly place, and he came to have lunch with us, and he even took us back home. He even was nice enough to take us to the airport when we left Quito a few days later. He became kind of like our friend during this whole thing, and it was really, really fun. So anyway, check out the butterflies.
This is James walking into the little area where the owner of the butterfly place was showing us where they have the butterfly eggs, and they all can be found on top of these leaves. They're very, very small, and they have many of these covered over there, as you can see. And I'm gonna film it up close so you can really check out the eggs.
Los huevitos.
Sí. Esos huevitos a los 8 días revientan, salen unas larvas pequeñas.
Then the next stage in butterfly development are the cocoons, as you can see here, and they just stay in these banana leaves hanging. And then after that, you can see that really there's the chrysalis for all the different butterflies, and some of them are even already coming out of them. And then every day, they actually open this net up and let the butterflies fly away to the next place that we're gonna show you, which is the flight area, where you can see all the butterflies taking flight, and they look so beautiful. It really looks like the one we went to see in Guatemala as well. James loves butterflies, as you guys know. He's amazed, and who wouldn't be, you're just walking in the middle of a bunch of butterflies. It's gorgeous. So I'm gonna leave you to some footage of the butterflies.
En realidad se te paró una suave en la batata, en la derecha.
And as you can see, a lot of the butterflies actually landed right on Maggie's body. One of them is on her leg, and then another one landed on her arms. So I don't know what it was about her. She was just a butterfly magnet. And we even got to see some hummingbirds live, which was super cool because they're so rare in nature. Then we went to have lunch at this beautiful restaurant called Serenity in the near the plaza of Mindo. And the prices were a little bit high for Ecuador because it's a very touristy restaurant. But you know, it's a safe bet when you're trying to get just some good food that's very hygienic and delicious. So I would highly recommend going there. Usually lunches in Ecuador go for about $2 to $2.50 per person, and this was about $10 to $13 per person. But it's really good, and we had a great time there together having lunch.
It was me, Maggie, Nayeli, Barbara, and Johan.
Then on the way back from Mindo to Quito, we actually saw a waterfall by the side of the road, which was incredible. I've never seen that before. And so we had to stop on the road. I don't recommend you do this because it's really windy and there could be people behind you, but we did for just a second, and it was so cool to be right near the waterfall.
There's a waterfall by the road.
And that's it for our trip to Ecuador. Thank you so much, Maggie, Vivi, and Naye, for having us in your house. We had an amazing time. We learned so much. We got to try so much new food and go to new places. We had a wonderful time. So thank you so much, and thank you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe and wait until we go to our next location. I'll see you next time. Bye.